Now let's go back to our code and talk about how functions work. Simply double-click in the C# script to open monodevelop backup. Whenever we create a new script, our code is presented with two basic functions, the start function and this update function. So functions are basically something that does some tasks, which written inside them. This is the function's body. All our code we want the function to do is written inside. So what the start function does is gets called whenever our script is called every single time. Functions allow us to keep code isolated from execution order when the script runs. The method and the function is very similar, but one thing we need to know and we need to understand is that how we access variable and that access is really changing inside and outside the method. This start function is gets called only once when the script started. So if we write debug.log inside of our start method, allow and save our code, let's jump into Unity and let's, for example, apply our code in the main camera. So our code contain the debug.log. So if we run our code, this text hello will be printed only one time whenever our game is started and our game is played. And what this update function does, it gets called in every frame. So it gets called again and again in every frame. So you use update function if you want to run some code in every frame. For example, let's write debug.log updated. Let's save our code and jump into Unity and let's clear the console. And now let's try to play our game. So what's happening that if we go and run our code, as you can see, update will be generated in every frame. So for now, it's about 800 updates. So update, and it never stops when the game is playing. We can write our own methods, but we need to start with the return type of the method. Return type gives us informations if the method will gives us a value back. We use void when we don't need to return anything. For example, let's try to create a new method. So we start with void, the name, example. So let's try to create a new variable, for example, string text. So this is our new variable. We need to declare the return type. We use void if we don't need any return value. So let's try in the function start to give a value to our text. Text equal value and start. Now let's try Let's change the layout for default. And now let's try to test our code. So let's try to make it public so we can see the update of the string variable in the inspector. So as you can see, let's select the camera, the text will be equal to none. When we try to execute our code, the text value will be value in start, which we give it in the start function. For example, in the void example, let's try to give a new value to our string. Let's give it value and example. Now let's try to update our code. As you can see, nothing really changed, so the value is the same. So one thing we need to do is to call our void example. So we need to type example in the start. So we call our new method like this. So when we play our game and test our code, when it runs, it gives us the new value in example. Now let's try a new method that return a value. For example, we need to declare a new string example, and let's delete the text value and let's type return. So the void, the new function example, will return the value in example. Now the text value will be assigned to example. For example, let's save our code, let's jump into Unity, and let's try to run our new code. As you can see, the new variable text will have the new value example too. So that's it for today. See you in the next tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for your support. Good night.